Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is May 27th, 2023. It's on Saturday and sunny. How are you spending Saturday? Do you have a plan for today and tomorrow? Or do you have work or school? I sometimes used to go to school on even Saturdays as preliminary to take the preliminary class lesson, usually, especially before big examinations. Preliminary class, preliminary lesson. I decided not to perform in front of people anymore. I no longer perform in front of people because I couldn't withstand the tension I felt from the audiences. I don't want to feel the tension anymore. I made many mistakes under the extreme tension. Under extreme tension. I made many mistakes during the play under extreme tension. Tense condition. I cannot perform well in the tense condition. I really envy those who can perform well or better in the tense condition. In a tense condition. In order to reproduce the tense situation, I joined a rehearsal session held by Cram School. In order to reproduce the tense condition at the performance, I joined a rehearsal session. The tense atmosphere was broken down by the jokes made by the bosses. The tense atmosphere in the meeting was broken by jokes made by boss, which was good. Tense. Past, future, and present tense, which confuses me a lot. Tense. Tense atmosphere. Tense atmosphere. Tense condition. I cannot perform well under the tense condition. In the tense condition. Tense. 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 Tense condition. Tense. I tried to hide my tense feelings, but it was obvious on my face. I looked pale, and I was not natural at all. Tense. Are there any tips for alleviating tense condition? Maybe meditation, breathing deeply, and so on. I tried some strategies, but none of them worked for me. Tense. What do you do to deal with your nervousness anxiety, and so on. What do you recommend that I try to alleviate my tense condition? Tense. Hmm. Tense condition. Escaping from tense atmosphere as soon as possible, as soon as I can. Tense. All over the past, present perfect, and future tenses confuse me. Past, present perfect, and future tense confuses me. Performing in front of people tenses me. Performing in front of me tenses me. Performing in front of people tenses me. Performing in front of people will not tense some people. What tenses you? What tenses you? Because you never feel anxiety or nervousness in performing in front of people. So I'd like to know what tenses you. What tenses you? Almost everything tenses me. Almost everything tenses me. As the date for the performance approaches, the more the event tensed me. The nearer the date for the performance approached, the more it tensed me. The information that more and more guests are predicted to invite. More and more guests are predicted to come tensed me. The fact that making a mistake is not allowed tensed me. The fact that making a mistake in the cooking is not allowed tenses me. I'd like to know what tenses you the most. Performing in the public, before examination, presentation in front of your boss, job interview, and so on. Whenever I perform in front of people, I tense. Whenever the performance day approaches, I tense. Whenever the date for the performance approaches, I tense more. I tense a lot during the examination so that I won't get bad score on the test. I usually tense at anything. I usually tense during my drive, especially when I'm driving in a narrow space and parking my car in the limited space. So I hope all of the cars will be automated perfectly. So I'm really waiting for all of the cars to be automated by AI. I usually tense at anything. 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 I used to tense a lot during the examination for fear of which questions would be asked in the test. I used to tense a lot before the examinations, wondering what kinds of questions would be asked. I used to tense a lot before examinations, fearing what difficult questions would be asked. In order to make your voice heard, you need to strain the string of the paper phone, cup phone. I remember experimenting, making my voice heard through the artificial phone made of the string and cup. In order to make my voice heard, I needed to strain the string enough. Otherwise, my voice couldn't be understood. Otherwise, my voice couldn't be heard on the other end of the phone. Straining the thread is one way to make it easier to cut. Straining the string is one way to making it easier to cut. Although I strained the string yesterday, it has been already loosened. It has already loosened. Strain. When I bent over to pick up what I dropped, I strained my back, waist. When I tried to pick up what I dropped, I strained my waist. When I bent down to pick up what I had dropped, I strained my waist. When I tried to pick up what I had dropped, I strained my waist. When I bent over in order to pick up what I had dropped, I strained my back. Do you know the rope pulling butter? Rope pulling butter. In order to make your voice heard, you need to strain the thread of the phone. Otherwise, your voice won't be heard on to the other end of the phone. Could you strain the thread while I'm cutting it? Could you keep the rope strained? Could you keep the string strained? And I will cut it. Could you leave the string strained? Could you leave the string strained? Could you keep the thread strained? Could you keep the thread strained? And in the meantime, I will cut it. Meanwhile, I will cut it. Could you keep the string strained? Could you keep the string strained? Could you keep the thread strained? In the meantime, I will cut it. I once took part in the event straining a net trapped in the sea in order to catch fish. I remember once joining the event straining a net which had trapped in the sea to gather fish. I once took part in an event of straining a net trapped in the ocean to gather fish, capture fish. What are they straining? Strain. Keep strain until I say okay. Strain until I finish cutting. Keep straining until I finish binding. Keep straining. Keep straining until I finish binding it. Keep straining until I finish binding the thread. Strain. 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 I had kept straining until I was said okay. I had kept straining until I was stopped, until I was said okay. Strain. While I was straining, I could feel how big the fish was from the straining power. While I was straining, I could feel and imagine how big the fish was. I could imagine how big the fish was from the strain. I could feel and imagine how big the fish was from the strain of the fish of the fishing battle. Strain of the fish. Strain. Strain. I could feel and imagine how big it was, how big the fish was, from the strain of the fish during the fishing. I could imagine how big the fish was from the strain of the fish. Strain, strain. The doctor told me that curing the injury would take at least 1 week. The doctor told me that curing the injury, curing the strain would take at least 1 week. And I had to go to see the doctor regularly. The string has been loosened in a day, overnight. Strained rope, strained rope, strained rope. Strained thread, strained thread, strained rope, strained string. I might be a soul person in every possible way, in every way. I might be a soul person. I might be a soul person in a way. I might be a soul person in a way. Soul. Soul. The soul convenience store in the village was closed for a short staff. For want of staff. The Seoul supermarket, owned by the family, has been closed. The Seoul supermarket owned by the family has been closed. The contestant is pushed out of the ring or any part of the body other than the soles of the contestant touches the ground. He loses. Soul. 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 Solely. I won't stop going outside just because it is raining. I won't stop going out solely because it is raining. Solely. Solely. There used to be a supermarket solely in the mountain, but it was closed. Solely. Solely. Did you really create the house solely? Did you really dispose of a pile of tasks solely? Did you really cope with the pile of tasks solely? Solely. Solely. Did you really dispose of the pile of tasks solely? Solely. Did you really dispose of a heap of tasks solely? Solely. Solely. Did you really dispose of the tasks? A heap of tasks, a pile of tasks solely. 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 thoroughly, thoroughly, thoroughly. I thoroughly wanted to hamburger. That's why I went to McDonald's. I thoroughly wanted to eat hamburger. That's why I went to the Burger King. Thoroughly. I actually, to be honest, to tell the truth, I entered the university thoroughly because everyone else went there. To be honest, to be frank with you, I entered the university thoroughly as everyone else entered around me. Thoroughly, thoroughly. Thoroughly, thoroughly, thoroughly. Thoroughly. How often do you go traveling thoroughly? Traveling thoroughly has both merits and demerits. If I talk about the merits, that I can decide where to go, where to stay, what to eat, everything on my own, which is very comfortable. The demerits, I might fear loneliness. Did you really create the makeshift house thoroughly? Did you really make the makeshift house thoroughly? Did you really assemble the furniture 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 thoroughly? Thoroughly, 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 thoroughly. Did you really assemble the furniture thoroughly? Did you really assemble the furniture thoroughly? Did you really assemble the furniture thoroughly? Did you really furnish? Did you really assemble the furniture thoroughly? When I went to a foreign country thoroughly, I was so scared, but I got through it. After getting over the difficulty, going to a foreign country thoroughly became easier. Now I can go thoroughly. According to the information from the witnesses, the criminal wear camouflage hat. According to information from some witnesses, the criminal was wearing black clothes. Black clothes. I accidentally witnessed that my friend and someone I don't know were dating. I by accident witnessed that a celebrity and his son or walking on the street. When you witness someone was doing wrongdoing, would you stop? If you witness someone doing something wrong, will you stop them? Stop him or her? If you witness someone doing wrongdoing, will you stop him or her? The celebrity was witnessed shopping in the convenience store. The celebrities are sometimes witnessed private life. Celebrities are sometimes witnessed having a private life. Do I have the right to testify in the courtroom? Do I have the opportunity to testify with decisive evidence in the courtroom? Sure. Testify. Testify. Do I have the opportunity to testify in the courtroom? Testify. I'd like to testify that the defendant was responsible for committing the crime. The defendant testified that he didn't mean to commit the crime. In the courtroom, the plaintiff testified that her house was broken into while she was away. The plaintiff testified that the defendant was telling lies. The plaintiff testified that the accused was telling a lie. Testify. The defendant testified that he had nothing to do with the incident. The accused testified that he had nothing to do with the incident. Testimony made by the accused was thrown away after the emergence of decisive evidence. The testimony made by the accused was dismissed, turned down, because of the emergence of decisive evidence presented by the plaintiff. Testimony by the accused, testimony by the plaintiff, testimony by the plaintiff, testimony. And have I ever listened to judge in the courtroom? Have you ever visited the courtroom? Have you ever heard the trial in the courtroom? Have you ever heard trial in the courtroom? Have you ever visited the courtroom? Have you ever heard trial? Have you ever taken part in the trial as a guest? Have you ever visited the courtroom? 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 Courtroom. I usually buy a good deal of food at once in order to reduce the number of shoppings. I wish I could earn as a good deal of money as you. I wish I could earn as a great deal of money as you. A good deal of money, a great deal of money. I wish I could earn as a good deal of money as you. I wish I could earn as a good deal of money as you. I wish I could earn a great deal of money as you. Paying under the standard for the average payment is not reasonable at all. Paying only 700 yen to the responsible job is not reasonable at all. Paying only 700 yen hourly to the responsible job is not reasonable at all. Reasonable. Reasonable. Reasonable decision. Make a reasonable decision. Deviating from the reasonable decisions or reasonable way of thinking can be the key to achieving breakthrough. Making a detour can be the key to success. Because many people try to shortcut the difficulties and so on. Because many people try to shortcut troublesome things, troublesome things. Although we have to get over troublesome things all the anyway. Burdensome, troublesome things. Reasonable decision. I don't find it reasonable decision to go to the station again, to go to the downtown after depositing our suitcases very far from the center. I don't find it a reasonable decision to go to the downtown after depositing our suitcases in the hotel apart from the center very far. Maybe we can deposit our suitcases in a coin locker to save money, to save time, considering the distance between the hotel and the downtown. I'm bad at making a reasonable decision. I'm super bad at making a reasonable decisions. So this time I will leave it to you. Please make a decision. Please make a reasonable decision for our team. Reasonable reason for the day off, for the paid leaves. Don't even try to come up with excuse for being late for school. You are habitual criminal. Don't even try to come up with excuses anymore. The employee was trying to come up with a reasonable reason for getting a paid leave. Reasonable. Reasonable. We feel happy when we can buy something at a reasonable price. We can glad. We are glad. We become glad. We turn glad. We grow glad. When we can something at a reasonable price. At a reasonable price. At a reasonable price. At a reasonable price. Reasonable. At a reasonable price. Traveling arranging everything on my own can be cheaper than participating in the package tour. But package tour can also be cheaper than arranging everything on my own. It depends. But usually, as a rule, generally speaking, arranging everything ourselves are cheaper than participating in the package tour. So, in order to save money, I usually arrange everything, including hotel, flight, and so on, by myself. Reasonable decision, reasonable payment, reasonable hourly payment, reasonable monthly pay. Reasonable. I try to reason before making a decision, because I used to make a decision without reasoning or thinking at all, which led to many mistakes. So I started to reason since then. I used to make a decision without thinking or reasoning at all, so which led to many mistakes. So since then, I've been reasoning to everything and make decent decisions, sensible, reasonable decisions. And reasoning from the information I got from some witnesses, friends, acquaintances. I will choose to stay in the guest house. Reasoning from the information I got, I will hire a tour guide in the middle of the nowhere. I don't know. Reasoning from the information I got, I will stay in a little expensive hotel for safety. Reason. The accused kept silent and never told the reason why he committed the crime. I'm not good at reasoning. I'm not good at reasoning. If I reason from my experience, it's better to leave our house before 7 o'clock a.m. to get to the destination. Reasoning from my experience, it will take more than 1 hour to get to the destination because of the traffic congestion during this time of the day. So it is very doubtful, skeptical that he could reach the destination at that time. Reason from experience. Reason from experience. Reason from experience. Reason from experience. Reason. If I reason from my experience, I doubt that he could reach the destination within 45 minutes during this time of the day because there are always heavy traffic congestions. Reason from the information I gathered. Reasoning from the information I gathered. More and more jobs will be replaced by AI. It is reason that more and more jobs will be replaced by AI. AI will replace more and more jobs as new workers. Reason. Reason from experience. If I reason from my experience, those who can speak English well are those who can make a long-lasting effort. Reasoning from my experience, those who can speak English very well are those who can make a long-lasting effort. The prosecutor reasons that the suspect must have something to do with the incident. The prosecutor reasons that the defendant has something to do with the incident. The prosecutors reason that the suspect broke into the house in the middle of the midnight. Some experts reason that more and more jobs will be replaced by AI. Some experts reason that more and more jobs will be replaced by AI. Some experts and specialists reason that more and more jobs will disappear. At the same time, more and more new jobs will be created. It is reasoned that more and more old jobs will disappear. At the same time, more and more new jobs will be created. I reason that the concept of working will be totally different in the future, or the concept of the work will disappear. I reason that the concept of working will be different, totally different in the future, or the concept of the working will disappear. Reason from your experience. Based on my experience, I reason that arriving at the destination on time will be impossible, out of the question. It is reasoned that a big earthquake will happen, arise within 30 years. The prosecutors reason that the criminal broke into the house in the middle of the midnight and escaped. The prosecutors reason that the criminal will be the acquaintance of the owner of the house. It is reasoned that the fire of the castle was spontaneous, not arson. It was reasoned that the fire of the castle had been spontaneous, not arson. Based on the scientific data, uh, based on the scientific data, it is predicted, it is reasoned that the fire of the castle was due to spontaneous, not arson. The specialist reason that aftershock can happen a couple of years after this one. Some experts reason that more and more jobs will be replaced by AI, robots, machines, and so on. I reason that the concept of working will disappear. I reason that the concept of working will disappear. And there are some things I like about this restaurant. First, the price is reasonably priced. It is reasonably priced. The menus are reasonably priced. Comfortable sofa. The second is a comfortable environment, such as spaciousness and comfortable sofa. And the third is the attitude of the staff. They are all kind. That's why I often go to the restaurant. The itinerary was arranged reasonably by the professional. I usually go to the restaurant with reasonably priced. I usually go to the restaurant whose menus are reasonably priced. I usually go to the restaurants whose menus are reasonably priced. I usually go to the restaurant where the prices of the menu are reasonably priced. The itinerary is made reasonably. Taking the age of the tourist into account. The itinerary is reasonably planned by taking the age, knowledge, country into consideration. The itinerary is well organized and reasonably planned, created, arranged, reasonably arranged by taking the information of the tourists into account. Reasonably thinking, arriving at the destination on time will be out of the question. Reasonably. I usually go to the restaurants where the prices of the menu are reasonably priced. I usually go to the restaurants where the prices of the menus are reasonably priced. You do? Water. I'm not good at thinking reasonably. Reasonably thinking having a bulk shop at once is more efficient for me in order to reduce the number of shoppings. If I buy little, you have to go to the supermarket again to buy something. So having a bulk shopping at once is very reasonable. Reasonably thinking, having a bulk shop is efficient. Reasonably thinking, running faster than a car is out of the question as of now. Reasonably thinking, foregoing payment is difficult to live. Reasonably thinking, having a life with gambling is out of the question. The plan is organized reasonably by taking the age and the information of the tourist into consideration. My reasoning is often criticized, dismissed, condemned, turned down. Reasoning, but more and more jobs will be replaced by AI. Reasoning, that the earth is circular or flat. Reasoning, reasoning of the universe, reasoning of the edge of the universe. Reasoning that the earth was flat. Reasoning, my reasoning that the concept of working will disappear or will be totally different in the future. Reasoning that the things we put value on will differ with time. The reasoning that the things we put value on will vary with time over the time. Reasoning, his comments are filled with doubts because he often tells lies. The comments from the shop are always filled with doubts because they often tell lies. Many citizens cast doubts on the policy issued by the government. Many citizens threw the doubts through doubts on the policy made by the government. Doubt, question, doubt. Many citizens cast doubt on the insurance scheme. I'm casting doubt on the insurance scheme because this sounds strange. You will know that succeed in the business. I've seen your attitude and focus on the field since we were a child, so you will no doubt succeed in the business, I'm sure. I'm certain. Mount Fuji is no doubt the highest mountain in Japan. Mount Fuji is no doubt the highest mountain in Japan. Skeptical, doubtful, skeptical, doubtful, skeptical, 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 skeptical. I'm skeptical about the information I got from you. Try to be skeptical about common senses might be the key to achieving breakthrough. Being skeptical of common senses might be the key to achieving breakthrough, because breakthroughs are usually made of crazy ideas. Breakthroughs are usually accomplished by crazy ideas. As far as I know, breakthroughs are usually achieved by crazy ideas, with crazy ideas. As far as I know, breakthroughs are accomplished with crazy ideas. So in that meaning, being skeptical about common senses might be the key. Skeptical. I'm usually skeptical about common senses. I'm usually skeptical about everything. Skeptical. I'm usually skeptical about everything, especially advertisements. I'm skeptical about every advertisement. Advertisements work differently to me. Advertisements work badly to me. Reversely to me. Advertisements work reversely for me. It works reversely for me. Advertisements of product work reversely to me. It is having a bad effect on me. Not everyone is getting the good image from the advertisement. I am skeptical about advertisements. Skeptical, doubtful, skeptical, doubtful, skeptical, doubtful, doubtful. Persuading the skeptical person to do the duty is very difficult. Persuading the skeptical person to believe in the policy is very difficult. Convincing the skeptical person to believe in the policy is very difficult. Persuading the skeptical person to believe in the truth is difficult. Many citizens are skeptical about the promises made by the politician because he made many lies. He told many lies. Many citizens are skeptical about the manifest issued by the man. Running as fast as the car as of now is out of the question. Human beings running as fast as the car is out of the question as of now, but it might be made possible with the development of new technologies in the future. But as of now, 2023, it is impossible. It is out of the question. Out of the question. It is out of the question. 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 Flying like birds is out of the question as of now. Human beings flying like birds is out of the question. Flying like birds. Human beings flying like birds is out of the question as of now. Living in Mars as of now is out of the question. Human beings living in Mars is out of the question right now. As of now, for now. The things regarded as out of the question might be possible in the future with the development of technologies. The things seen as out of the question, the things which are seen as out of the question, the things which are viewed as out of the question might be made possible with the development of technology. I was often told to put things away from my parents. Since I don't like messy rooms, I try to put things away soon after the usage. Putting away things soon after the usage is a way to keep the rooms clean. I try to put things away soon after the usage, immediately after the usage, quickly after the usage. I sometimes watch TV in which messy rooms are introduced because the owner of the apartment don't know how to put things away, or putting away is tiring. Putting away is tiring, so I can understand the feelings that they want to procrastinate in putting them away. Putting away is tiring and tough when we are especially exhausted, so we tend to procrastinate in putting things away. The blockages on the road were in the way of the pedestrians and commuters after the typhoon. The trees fallen on the road were in the pedestrians' way. In the pedestrians' way. The obstacles left on the street, such as pet bottles, boxes, and cans and bins, were in the way of pedestrians. In the pedestrians' way. In the pedestrians' way. In pedestrians' way. In pedestrians' way. In pedestrians' way. Please make sure that there are no obstacles on the way. Please make certain that there are no obstacles on the way. Inspection of the machines are expected tomorrow, so please make sure that there are no obstacles on the way. Okay? The obstacles on the road after typhoon were in commuters' way, in the way of commuters. I used to make believe that I was a superhero when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I often make believe that I was a hero, superhero who could do anything with special power. Did you also do the same? Did you also make believe that Did you also make believe that you were a superhero who had special ability? I would often make believe that I was a superhero who had special ability. Although the kid made believe that he finished his homework, but actually it was not. The kid made believe that he had been studying until the parents came back, but it was found out to be false by the witness, by the information from the witness, his friends. He was playing with his friends. The kid made believe that he had been studying until the parent came home, but it was turned out to be false. It proved to be false because of the information from his witness friends. The kid made believe that he had been studying until his mother came home, but it was turned out to be false. It proved to be false by the information from his friends. He was playing with his friends until his mother came home. He was pretending to be studying just before her arrival. The employee made believe that he had working on the duty while the boss was away for 1 hour, but it was turned out to be false because the duty was not proceeded yet. The duty was not proceeded yet at all. The employee made believe that he had been working on the duty until the boss came back, but it turned out to be false. It proved to be false because the duty was not proceeded at all. Is it possible to walk through Shinagawa Station without bumping into anyone? Is it possible to walk through Shinagawa Station during the rush hours without bumping into anyone else? I cannot go through JR Osaka Station without bumping into someone else during the rush hours. I often bumped into someone else JR Osaka Station on the rush during the rush hour because it is crowded with people, commuters, during that time of the day. There are many people. I like the shelf filled with glasses. I like the shelf cabinet filled with beautiful cups, glasses, and so on. If there is vacant in the cabinet, I feel like filling the space up. If I find a space in the cabinet, I feel like filling it up with cups or glasses or something beautiful. Nothing is more priceless than our life. Nothing is as priceless as our lives. Our lives are the most important thing. Our life is the most important thing than any other thing. Our life is the most important thing. Our life is more important than any other thing. Our life is the most priceless. Our life is the most priceless. 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 Valuable. Invaluable. 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 Priceless. Invaluable. Priceless. Invaluable. Priceless. Invaluable. Priceless. Priceless. Invaluable. Lacquerware is my recommended Japanese souvenirs because it is strong and lasts for a long time, and it is light. Are you interested in lacquerware? Ceramic ware. When I went to the country with the package tour and listening to the information from the tour guide at the lobby of the hotel, a kid was leaning on a vase by accident and it fell off, breaking into pieces. I was surprised at it because the vase looked so expensive. I don't know what happened after that. It might be covered by insurance, or the parent of the son ended up paying. Wind up paying, I don't know. But maybe it was covered by insurance because on the next day or the following day, both the son and the parent were enjoying the sightseeing with a smile. ceramicware, ironware, bronzeware, straw pattern pottery, straw pattern pottery, unglazed pottery, glazed pottery. Porcelain, pottery, china, pottery, porcelain, china. Are you interested in pottery and porcelain? Where can I buy the chinaware? Where can I buy the chinaware which is reasonable within my budget? Where can I chinaware? Putting the china on the shelf is not a good idea because someone might lean on that, ending up the vase falling. Decorating the china on the table is not a good idea because it might fall, shattering into pieces. The machine can shatter everything into fragments, except for some, with some exceptions. The machine can shatter paper into pieces. The machine can shatter almost everything into fragments. The mixer can shatter the food into fragments. The food mixer can shatter the vegetables into fragments. The vase fell off the table and shattered into fragments. The vase fell off the table and shattered into fragments. The vase fell off the table and shattered into fragments, into pieces. The machine can shatter almost everything into fragments. The machine can shatter almost everything into fragments. So please be careful when you use the machine. You need to pass a consecutive 6-time test in order to operate the machine on your own. I mean consecutive, successive. If you succeed, if you pass 5 times and fail the last one, you have to take the test again. You have to pass 6 times in a row, okay? I still remember a stranger at the platform of the station asked me to keep an eye on her belongings while she was at the toilet. Is it normal to ask a stranger you don't know to keep an eye on your belongings while you are at the toilet? I still surprised at it. When I was at the platform of the train station, a stranger I don't know asked me to keep an eye on her belongings while she was at the toilet. Can you ask someone you don't know to keep an eye on your belongings while you were at toilet? While you were in a toilet? I still surprised at it. Some security cameras around my house are keeping an eye on strangers around 24 hours. The security cameras around my house keep an eye on strangers around my house 24 hours. The security cameras around my house are keeping an eye on the scene around my house 24 hours, around the clock, round the clock. The security cameras around my house are keeping an eye on the street and road 24 hours, around the clock, round the clock. I was often told off from my parents for not doing homework, studying, and so on. I was often scolded by my mother, teachers, and acquaintances, relatives, whoever, for not doing well, for not behaving well, and so on. I detest making a room messy. I really detest making a mess in my room, so I usually put things away immediately after the usage, party, and so on. I was often told off for not doing homeworks. I was often told off for not doing homeworks. I was often told off for not doing homeworks. I was often told off for not doing homeworks. I was often told off for not behaving well in front of teachers and so on. Were you also often told off for not doing well, not behaving well, and so on? Were you also told off frequently for wrongdoings? Don't tell me off for such a trivial thing. Don't tell me off for such a trivial thing. Some short-tempered people hit the ceiling, get angry soon. Some people with short temper tell you off easily because they have a short temper. Some people with a short temper easily tell you off, which is not good. It is predicted, or it is almost sure, that the park will be messed up after the party. It is predicted that the participants of the party will make a mess in the garden. So, cleaning projects are already set up. The cleaning project have already been set up. Cleaning project has been already set up after the party. The association which set up the cleaning project hope to finish the cleaning as quickly as 2 days. Don't make a mess. Don't make a mess. Don't make a mess. Don't make a mess. It is almost sure that the street will be made a mess after the party, after the festival. It is almost sure, almost certain that the street will be made a mess after the festival. The streets were made a mess by the participants of the party, festivals, and so on. Are you a big or smaller sister? Little sister. Are you older or younger sister? Are you older or little brother? Are you a older or a little brother? Are you a big or a little brother? Older or little sister? Older or little sister? Older or younger sister? Are you a big or little sister? Are you a big or little sister? Big or little brother? Are you a big or little brother? Are you a big brother? Or a little brother? A little brother? A big brother? How many big brothers do you have? How many big brothers do you have? Do you have a big or little brothers? Do you have siblings? Do you have siblings? Do you have a big or little brothers? A big brother, a little brother, a big sister, a little sister, a older sister, younger sister, older sister, older brother, younger sister, younger brother. It is said there are at least 3 people resembling us in the world. It is said there are at least 3 people in the world who really resemble us. They say there are at least 3 people in the world who really resemble us, resemble. It is said that there are 3 people at least in the world resembling us. I am unique in every way, in every possible way from others. My way of thinking is ingenious, unique, or crazy in every way. The things we put value on will change with time in every way, in every point, in every respect, in every respect, in every respect, in every way, in every way, in every point, in every way. The society has been changing in every way. The common senses have changed in every way during the pandemic. The common sense has changed. The common senses have changed in every way. How can I tell about the genuine from copied ones in brand goods? How can I tell apart the genuine from genuine brand goods from copied ones? Can you tell apart the taste of Coke from that of Pepsi? Can you tell apart the taste of the Coke from that of Pepsi? Can you tell apart the taste of the Coke from that of Pepsi? Can you tell apart the taste of the Coke from that of Pepsi? I can't. It feels same for me. It tastes same for me. It tastes same for me. It tastes same for me. But if the professionals taste both of the drinks, maybe they can tell apart. They can tell the difference. Maybe they can tell them apart. Tell apart vice from virtue. Please tell apart virtue from vice. Please tell apart virtue from vice. Please tell apart vice from virtue. We should be educated to be able to tell apart virtue from vice. Children should be educated to be able to tell apart virtue from vice. How can I tell about brand goods, genuine brand goods from the copied ones? How can I tell about genuine authentic brand goods from copied ones? In my school, there were twins in the same class. There were twins in my class. When I was a student, there were twins in the same class. As a rule, we feel happy when we get more than expected. As a rule, we feel happiest when we are expecting something. As a rule, we become happy when we are expecting something. As a rule, we feel happiest when we are expecting something. As a rule, generally speaking. In general, as a rule, as a rule, as a rule, as a rule, as a general, as a rule, as a general. In most cases, generally speaking, normally, usually, as a rule, in general, generally, as a rule, 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 as a general, generally speaking. In nutshell, briefly, to be frank with you, to be honest, to tell the truth, frankly speaking, as a rule, 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 we feel happy when we get more than expected. As a rule, entering the University of Tokyo is very difficult. As a rule, we cannot live without food and drinks. If it had not been for food and drinks, we could not have lived. If it were not for food and drinks, we would not live. We could not live. It is not surprising that there are no things in common between you and me, because I am super unique. It is no wonder that there are nothing in common between us. It is no wonder that there are no common things between us. It is no wonder that there are no things in common between us. Although I reserved one king-size bed, I was served twin bedrooms. Twin bedroom room. Twin bedroom. Twin bedroom. Twin bedroom. Although I booked a queen-size single bedroom, I was served a twin bedroom. Although I booked a single bedroom, I was served a twin bedroom. Although I booked a queen-size single bedroom, I was served a twin bedroom. Although I booked a queen-size single bedroom, I was offered a twin bedroom. Although I reserved a queen-size single bedroom, I was served a twin bedroom. But it was okay. I didn't claim at all, because I'd like to avoid any conflicts, troubles, and so on. So I left it as it is. I left it as it was. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you!